Here at the Miller's house, you can find a hat almost anywhere. Jeff Miller has over 5,000 hats alone just from minor league baseball teams, and his collection over the years got so big that he had to get a storage unit to fit all of his extra hats. Walking around the Diamondbacks clubhouse, you don't see too many clean-shaven players. If they don't have a thick beard like Archie Bradley, they normally have some sort of facial hair. But one thing's for certain, there are not a lot of these hanging around Salt River Fields. Williamson returned to Tucson where he grew up. He then got a job at a tiki bar called The Hut, which sparked a nickname that he still has to this day. Brito has been switching back and forth between the minor leagues and the MLB the last 2 seasons. He's seen a steady increase in playing time, however. 33 at-bats in 2015, and just last season, he put up 95. However, he says he still has a lot to improve. Another rainy night in Seattle, Washington, and another win for the number 6 Huskies as they dropped the Arizona State Sun Devils with the final score of 44-18. Chris Herman has always been known for his versatility. Ever since he was little, Herman played every position but shortstop, and even in the big leagues, not much has changed.
Well, I thought, the higher up in a level I go, I thought I was just going to settle in and just, work on one position, that being catcher. But, a lot of teams, when I was with the Twins, they really liked that I was versatile and, I could play all these different positions. And thankfully, the Diamondbacks feel the same way.
Last season was Herman's first in Arizona. He started 29 games at catcher, 9 as an outfielder, and played 2 as a first baseman.
It's a lot of work, for him it's really good. He played like a lot of position. He's kind of like a utility guy, playing catcher, like first base. I see him playing outfield and everything. So you got a lot of preparation to do all this kind of stuff.
Herman had his best year in 2016, hitting .284 for the Diamondbacks. Before that, 3 years ago, his best batting average was .213 for the Minnesota Twins. Herman said that there's extra work when having to play multiple positions. But when he's not working on his baseball skills, he's working on his other passion.
I've been playing video games since I was a little kid, and it's actually funny that you mentioned that because I brought my my shirt today, my Nintendo shirt. I've played them all. I've played many hours and days in these games, so yeah, it's part of my life, I should say, which is kind of sad. It's a video game, but it's true.
Herman is not shy when it comes to his love for video games. He is able to connect with some of his fans through Twitch, an app that allows gamers to live stream themselves playing video games and connect with other users.
I would do it, 4 or 5 days a week, and just for a couple hours, and I would see the same guys just always rolling in, like asking me questions about baseball, and not even about video games. It would just be about baseball. So it's a pretty cool little deal.
Not only is Herman the best gamer on the Diamondbacks roster, he also makes his own personal computers.
I learned how to build PCs from my grandfather. He owned his little PC shop, so I would always go there and kind of watch how he put together PCs and stuff. And a lot of people think it's really hard, but it's not that difficult.
Herman says he's a catcher at heart, but considers playing other positions his personal call of duty. In Scottsdale, Troy Lynch, Cronkite News.
You're okay right there. You're all right.
17 years ago, Turf Paradise installed an equine pool to help train their horses for races.
This just extends their life and their racing career so much, but it's still got to win, They still got to take care of them and their legs got to stay tight and everything like that, but this extends their life a lot.
This equine pool is 14 feet deep, and it's one of the only ones that you can find on a racetrack in the Southwest region. The point of the equine pool is to relieve pressure and stress on the horse's muscles and joints, which means better cardio when it comes to race day.
All you do is swim, and you actually you enhance their lungs. If you don't do it too much, because they've got to use their lungs, and they use other parts of their body that they don't use galloping.
I see a happier horse. They're not dealing with the swelling in the legs or the tendon strains and stuff that they do on the track when they gallop in the mornings.
Just like every swimming lesson, there will always be nerves before getting in the water. And the younger they are, the higher the nerves.
When a 2-year-old comes up here, or a horse first time, see like this horse right here, they're gonna splash a little water on her, let her know that water's there. And And we don't want that. We don't want that.
But after a while, the horses love it, and the owners love its benefits. In Phoenix, Troy Lynch, Cronkite News. Major League Baseball has recruited talent from the Cape Cod Baseball League for over a century. The Cape Cod League uses wood bats instead of aluminum and is known as the best summer destination for collegiate players. A record 297 Cape Cod League alumni filled MLB rosters in 2016, 9 of whom are with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
One of my favorite summers playing baseball. It was like a 2-minute walk to the beach, so that was pretty much our pregame routine, was just go chill by the beach and hang out and then go to the field.
Everybody in college always talks about going to the Cape and how great it is, so I mean it was a great experience getting to meet a lot of guys and great competition, so it was a lot of fun.
For many collegiate ball players, playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League is an honor. But for Diamondback shortstop Nick Ahmed, it was a dream. He grew up in Massachusetts watching Cape League games since he was little, then finally got to live out his dream with the Bourne Braves.
I grew up going to Orleans, seeing the Orleans Cardinals play as a kid. So getting to go to that venue and play those guys was really cool, and just something I really looked forward to as a kid. Going to watch the games and playing in them as a college athlete was really special.
Players live with host families and stay busy, playing 44 games in 51 days. So when it comes to off days,
Oh, we didn't have too many.
We didn't have many.
but even those few were still memorable.
I worked camps in the morning and then got the field ready for games and went to the beach every now and then. So, I mean, it was pretty routine.
Most days we had a big get-together with the team on the beach and had a bonfire and hung out and all that kind of stuff.
Although most have the time of their lives, not every player finds success on the field.
I did well. I was an all-star that year, so it was a good summer for me.
I had no shot. That was like my first time swinging a wood bat. So because the summer before I took the summer off because I had a hamstring issue. So I was definitely overmatched for sure. So it was not easy for me.
The Cape Cod League, home to more than 1,100 MLB alumni since 1885, opens every season in mid-June with all 10 teams in Massachusetts. At Salt River Fields in Arizona, Troy Lynch, Cronkite News. Homecoming night for the Arizona State Sun Devils as the Washington State Cougars travel to Tempe with a perfect Pac-12 record. We'll pick things up in the first quarter. Manny Wilkins doing it with his legs, going airborne once again. Vintage Wilkins, 3 yards out and puts the Sun Devils up on top first, 7-0. Now we'll take things in the second quarter. Kayla and Balaj out of the Sparky formation. Give the guys some room and you won't be able to catch them. 52 yards all the way into the house. That will put the Sun Devils 14-3. A great play, but not as great as this man's hair. End of the second quarter, Luke Falk wants to get on the scoreboard even more. A 9-yard touchdown pass to DeVaris Martin Jr. Yeah, you can celebrate, and the Cougars are up 17-14 going into halftime. And then Luke Falk, he's not done. In the third quarter, 3-yard pass to Jamal Morrow. Stay on the ground. You deserve the rest. That'll put the Cougars up 31-14. They're happy about it, but Falk, he's not done. A absolute dime to Gabe Marks. 52 yards, stiff-arming Kareem Orr all the way into the end zone, flexing the muscles, and Washington State looked like they were just going to roll over Arizona State up until this play. Karan Crump fighting through that offensive line, sacking Falk for the third time of the day, forcing WSU to punt. And believe it or not, that punt was returned by this man right here, Tim White. His first touchdown of this season. He did this all last season, and he takes this punt 70 yards to the house, giving Arizona State some momentum, but it was not enough against the Cougars. Final score 37-32 as Arizona State falls to 2-3 in Pac-12 play. Well, it feels like we talk to Connor Wong almost every other day, but the only reason we're talking to him today is because he was just named a Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star. I'm Troy Lynch alongside Connor Wong. Connor, you were with the YD Red Sox last year, however, you didn't make the All-Star team. How sweet is it knowing that you're going to be the starting catcher this year? Well, the Bourne Braves in yesterday's All-Star game, they were lights out, especially on the mound, and I'm joined by one of the All-Stars today, Tony Dibrow, one of the starting pitchers for the Bourne Braves. Tony, going into yesterday, there were a lot of nerves. You were telling me before the game. Was Was it nice to get that first out and the pressure getting left off to your shoulders? Boy, is he the popular one today, but for good reason. Last time we talked to you, Brendan, was after the All-Star game, but today you come out of the closing role, you pitch an inning and 2/3, able to strike out the last 2 batters. How have you been able to balance when you've been all over the place, normally coming out of relief, but this time in the closer position? Well, there are 6 Braves who competed in the All-Star game yesterday. Here is their stat line: 4 hits, 1 home run, 3 runs, 2 RBIs, and 2 scoreless innings. So the Bourne Braves pretty much own the entire All-Star game. So that's going to make it easy for our players of the game today. Michael, who do you have? The 2017 Masters is underway in Augusta, and Arizona State alum Phil Mickelson has the opportunity to cement himself as one of the best golfers of all time. He has won 3 green jackets, but it's that 4th one that would really make a statement. He hasn't won an event since 2013, but if he is able to pull through in Georgia, he will join Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Tiger Woods as the only golfers to ever win 4 Masters. And that leads us into our tweet of the day. Remember the rule, always respect your elders. We'll continue to do that, but you also have to respect Jon Rahm. The 22-year-old phenom is ranked 12th in the world going into his first Masters and already won the PGA Tour at the Farmers Insurance Open this year. And now with the world's #1 golfer Dustin Johnson out of the tournament, Rahm's chances are looking a lot better. But it's not just Rahm and Mickelson representing ASU in the tourney. Here are the other golfers from Arizona University's participating, 4 total golfers from Arizona State, and Jim Furyk is the lone Wildcat in the bunch. We already talked about how young Rahm is, but get this, the next youngest golfer on this list is Paul Casey, who is 17 years older than Rahm. Rahm can't even rent a car yet, but if you're ranked the 12th best golfer in the world, you probably don't need to. One of the biggest storylines from last night was the fact that Gonzaga out-rebounded North Carolina, but still lost. We had Cronkite News reporters at University of Phoenix Stadium to cover the game, and our very own Tyler Paley was able to break down what helped UNC to yet another championship. Now let's get social with our tweet of the day, which also could be the best photo of the college basketball season. Check out our photographer Blake Bernard's best shot from last night. UNC's Kennedy Meeks giving Gonzaga's Nigel Williams-Goss some early Thanksgiving stuffing to help seal the deal for North Carolina's win over the Bulldogs. And you know what, Blake? You know what? I'm going to put it on a poster. Why not? We already talked about how rebounding played a factor in the national championship, but with both teams struggling on offense, our reporter Jake Garcia tells us that it was the Tar Heels defense that surprised Gonzaga, especially in the second half. Catherine, thanks for joining us today. But you've been going to practice these past few weeks, and you mentioned earlier that there's a different vibe in practice. I mean, what exactly does that mean? Right, and 3 straight losses, obviously, you're going to have to change some things. But, I mean, how does this new vibe affect this team as a whole for both the underclassmen and the upperclassmen? All right, let's put this into perspective, and I want both of you guys to answer this, too. Going into this weekend, let's say they beat both Colorado and Colorado State. What does that mean? But if they lose, also same question. That whole game, ASU's defense was just completely backwards. Normally, they're horrible on the pass attack, but this time they were horrible on the run attack. And I have 2 examples of Samanji Grant just taking it right up the middle, really simple play. Let's take a look at the first play, shall we? So, as you can see, pretty basic formation from both sides. Cover 2 for Arizona State's defense. Then after that, just a normal, simple formation for Arizona's offense. Now you take a look at Samanji Grant. He's going to get the handoff right here. Let's zoom in on Salamo Fiso. He's going to be the guy outlined by this yellow circle right here. He makes the wrong read to the left side. Now that wouldn't be that big of a deal if Ronell Wren did not get blown up at the line of scrimmage. That makes this huge hole for Samanji Grant to go right down the middle. Not just that, he goes untouched. He starts at their own 15-yard line. He ends up on Arizona State's 25-yard line. That just cannot happen. I don't know why they're running a cover 2 formation when Arizona, the entire second half, they just did not pass. 325 yards on the ground in the second half, and they almost averaged 15 yards a carry.